We're now in Dcad Lesson 10A, and we'll be dealing with our elevation drawings in Lesson 10. One of the things I want to do while I'm still in the roof framing plan is to select this section arrow and just move it down a little bit. So I'm going to gravity move to the handle there and hit M for move and just hit the arrow key down. Escape. So initially I'm going to go to layers, hit L for layers, and I just want in my layers dialog to have active and named layers only, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to first I need to pull up the section drawing, because I'm going to use that for one of my elevations. It'll be the base for all of our elevations actually, and so I'm going down to layer 75 and I'm activating that, and I'm also going to go down to layer 88 for my heights because I'm going to need that, and hit OK. I'm going to hit Control W to zoom out all the way to the extent of the drawing, and I'm going to go over to the right hand side, and the working plane properties I'm going to click on, and I want the right elevation to be the working plane we're going to be working in. So I'm clicking on Set as Active Working Plane, and then I'm hitting Control W again to center the drawing, and you can see that it's made our section drawing align correctly at almost like an elevation drawing. So I'm going to zoom up on that section drawing, hitting Z for zoom, making my zoom rectangle, and I'm going to hit L for layers again because I want the right elevation to be the current active layer that I'm working in. So that is layer 51 for the right elevation, and so I'm clicking in that twice to make that the current active layer. So anything that I draw now will be drawn into layer 51, which is the right elevation. I'm clicking OK, and I'm going to hit Control W again just for a second here. And there are actually several ways that we can draw the walls for the elevations. We can either bring lines down from our roof framing plan, for the support layers from the roof framing plan if we want, or we can actually even use information in our existing section drawing. So what I'm going to do is zoom back up on the section drawing and use it for quite a bit of our elevation drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be selecting several items in this section drawing, and so I'm going to select the outer portion of the roof, and holding down Shift I'm going to select both sides. So that is actually the top of the roof sheathing. I'm going to select both gutters, and I'm going to select just on the actually outside wall line, but it actually, if we zoomed up, I'll zoom up so you can see better. It's actually this line right here, which is the outside stud line or the outside wall line. This next line over would be the outside of the wall subsiding, and the next lines over would be this actual siding. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select this also, hitting Control M to go back to our last zoom location. We don't, at this point in time, really need to draw any slabs or anything like that, but what I do want to include in this is the grade lines out here at the front where the garage door will go, and also on the rear where it's just kind of bumpy land. So we selected a whole bunch of items here. Notice that I have not selected any wall lines on the left side, and that's because we have a header there, so it'd be kind of a short wall. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use duplicate, hit N, and just get in the vicinity of my handle there and right click so it drops those same items right on top of them. I'm going to activate the info box, and all these duplicated items that I've just drawn, I'm going to now move into layer 51, because that is our right layer. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead and actually get rid of or at least hide the section drawing. So I'm going to hit L, and go down to 75 and turn out the light bulb. Click OK. I'm going to move my info box out of the way here. And I'm going to hit Escape to unselect it. And here's the basis for our right elevation drawing. Now, there's a couple ways I can duplicate this wall line on the other side. I could either just select it and set a handle on the ridge, because I know that they're both going to be the same distance from the ridge. Set a handle on that and just mirror it over. The other way to do it, there's actually several ways, but I'm going to hit Control W. And the other way to do it is, because that's what's still selected, I'm going to just hit the parallel line. Now, before I do that, I'm going to go to Layers. I'm going to get rid of the roof, hide the roof framing, and just select these and hide them. And I'm going to go to the roof plan support drawing and activate that. Click OK. Now I'm going to just hit equals for parallel. I'm going to click near that selected line, and you can see if I move it back and forth, it wants to draw a parallel line, and I'm going all the way up here, and I'm just going to right click on at the outside of the corner, and it'll locate our front wall line where it needs to be. So I'm going to hit Escape, and I'm going to zoom up on our elevation drawing. Now, we had 2x4 top chords for our trusses. I'm going to use 2x6s for our barge rafters. So I'm going to hit F2, which is parallel by distance, and I'm going to hit Tab to activate the box. I'm going to type in 5.5 inches. Actually, that's not correct. It'll be 6.125 inches, because actually it'll be the total of the roof sheathing and that sits on top of the 2x6 barge rafter. So 5/8 inch roof sheathing plus 5.5 inches for the barge rafter equals 6 1/8 inches. So I'm going to type in 6.125 inches, which is 6 1/8 inches. And I'm going to go over here by my roof, what's actually my roof sheathing line. Click on that, pull down, and click. I'm going to hit F2 again, and notice it still has that 6 1/8 inch. Feet decimal is still 6 1/8 inches. I'm going to click on this other side and pull down and click again. And now I'm going to hit Shift E to trim these two lines to each other. Now we're going to use our brick molding or shake molding, whatever, on the barge rafter. So I'm going to say that is going to be 2 5/8 inches wide. So I'm going to hit F2 again, parallel by distance. And hit Tab and type in 2.625 inches, which is 2 5/8, and click here and pull down and click, and F2 for parallel by distance again. Click here and pull down and click again. Now I'm going to trim these to each other with Shift E, which will trim these two lines to each other. And so you can see that we're quite a ways along here with our elevation drawing. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a vertical, a plumb cut line down. So I'm hitting V for vector, zooming up right here, and hitting H for orthogonal mode, and coming down a little bit past this line here, and setting a point, and then hitting my scroll button to activate that command. And Shift E will trim these two lines to each other. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Actually, I could just use a parallel line, but I'm going to do it the other way. So V for vector, and right snap to the upper portion. Hit H for orthogonal mode. Come on down a little bit past it. Click again, and then hit my scroll button to activate the command, and Shift E to trim these two lines to each other. So now we have the barge rafters drawn, but you also see that our wall lines are running up a little bit too high into this. So I'm going to trim each wall line, hit E, and just trim each wall line. I'm hitting H to go out of orthogonal mode to the bottom of the barge rafter. Hitting E and clicking near this rear wall line, and then near the bottom of the barge rafter, and it trims it to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit V for vector and create a bottom of siding line, and I can go back to orthogonal mode, H, and set another point, hit my scroll button to activate it. Now I'm going out of orthogonal mode by hitting H, and you can see that it's no longer active. And I'm going to trim this front wall line down to the grade line. E, click near it, and then click near it, and then E, click near it, and click near it. So essentially we have our right elevation now. It's not showing any exterior openings, doors, windows, or that sort of, because they're in a layer that's not currently being displayed. It's not an active layer. So I'm going to hit Control W, and I'm going to now go back to I'm going to go over to the working plane properties and click on that, and I want to just go to Reset Working Plane. That'll reset it to its original position, and you can see that our elevation is over here, over to the right. And what I want to do now is I want to do the front elevation. And so the quick and easy way to do that is first I need to go to Layers, for L for Layers, and that'll be in layer 45, so I'm going to make that my current active layer, and then click OK. And I'm just going to draw a line, hit V, and I'm going up to orthogonal mode up here, and right click into this corner and bringing it on down to our floor line. Hit K and hit Enter. And now I'm going to trim this line on down. Now if I try to trim it to this ceiling line right now, what it's going to do is it's going to pull this bottom portion of the line up instead of bringing the top down. So what I'm going to do before I trim that is I'm going to select it, and I'm going to use the extend command, which is essentially the dash command, and so shift dash, or actually it's underline, and click near it, the top where I want to hit it. Just click and hold the button down and get down to about a little bit above the ceiling line and let go. And now I can trim to the ceiling line by hitting E and just trim to it. Now I'm going to use this, I'm going to hit Escape. I'm going to use this, I'm going to hit Control R just to get rid of these remaining points that aren't really there. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to use the equal sign, which is parallel line, and I'm going to click near it, and I'm going to scoot over to my right front corner and just to the outside of it and right click. And so now I've set both wall lines. So what do we do about the roof? Well, here's the easy thing to do to deal with the roof on the front elevation. And this is part of the beauty of actually folding things out from the floor plans. I'm going to select our right elevation here, and I'm going to set a handle on somewhere on this floor line. And so I'm going down here to set selection handles. I'm clicking on it. And I'm getting near this line on this lower portion, and I'm going to just hit K and then hit Enter. So now it's set a handle on that floor line. I'm going to hit N to duplicate that whole drawing, and right click near that because I want to preserve that old right elevation. Right click near it. So now it's duplicated everything right on top of the previous right elevation. Now I'm going to hit R for rotate. And I'm going to hit Tab, and in the rotation angle, I'm going to type in 90. I want 90 degrees, and I'm going to hit Enter, and it rotates it. Now I'm going to hit Control R so you can see that our original right elevation is still there. And now I'm going to hit M for Move, and I'm just going to bring this on down, and all I have to do is hit K and to snap to this floor line. So I want to get it fairly close to our drawing here. And actually, I think I'll just K right about here. K. Okay, so now what it's done is it has given us some height information as far as concerning our roof and our gutters and all of that. So the other thing I want to do is call up the roof plan. So I left it out until now because I don't want it to be in our way. So I'm going to go hit L for Layers, and I'm going to go up to and actually unlock layer 30, which is our roof plan, and you can see it up here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some lines down, V for vector, snap to our left barge overhang, and hit H for orthogonal mode, and come on down a ways, so go down maybe to the header height, a little bit, somewhere in there. And just left click and set a point and hit my scroll button to activate the command. Now I want to bring this line down quite a bit, so I'm going to use the extend command, and again that's shift dash or underline, and I'm going to just click here and bring it on down about like just a little bit above that roof here. So just click here. So I'm going to actually make a parallel there of that, but I think I'll wait till I get my heights information off of this right elevation. So now I'm going to hit Z for zoom and zoom up to these elevation drawings, and I'm going to hit V for vector and draw from the ridge and hit H to make sure I'm in orthogonal mode all the way over to here, and just hit K so it snaps to it, and hit my scroll button to activate that. And actually I probably ought to go ahead and bring that other roof line down. So I'm going to just parallel this line, so I'm going to hit the parallel command, click near the line and it wants to go, and so I'm going to go out of orthogonal mode here for a second and right click on the right barge overhang up there. And so now I can trim this line to the right barge line. So I'm going to just hit E and trim that to that. And I'm going to hit E, or actually Shift E, and trim these to each other. Shift E again, trim these to each other. Now I'm going to zoom, hit Control M to zoom back up maybe one more time, and scroll over here a little bit. So we have our ridge line. Now what I need is the top of the, I'm going to zoom up a little closer here, the top of our fascia line. So I'm going to use this ridge line and hit equals and click near it and come on down and just right click at the top of our fascia. And then I'm going to do the same thing again, equals or parallel, click near that, come on down to the bottom of our fascia and equals again for parallel, come up and draw at the bottom of my gutter. And I think the top of the gutter and the top of the fascia are really pretty close to each other, but we can go ahead and draw a top of gutter also. So, and actually we're going to need to seal this this gutter at the end, because that's still from our section drawing. So I'm going to hit equals for parallel and just come on down to the top of the gutter and see how that looks, and there it is. Okay, so now we have the top of our fascia, top of our gutter, bottom of the gutter, and bottom of our fascia. So now all I have to do is trim the wall lines to the bottom of the fascia. E, click near the wall line, click near the bottom of the fascia. Same on the other side. E, click on the wall line, click near the bottom of the fascia. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and click this barge line, E, and trim it to the bottom of the fascia. And scroll over and hit E and trim this to the bottom of the fascia. And let's just scroll on out. And so now we have our front elevation drawing. And again, I'm not showing any exterior openings at this point in time because they'd just be in the way. So I'm going to select this borrowed right elevation, hit and select it, and then hit delete key to delete it, hit Control W. I'm going to go back over here and fix those gutters. Z for zoom on the right elevation, and I'm going to hit V for vector and hit H for orthogonal mode, hit K to snap it to the and I'm going to also trim. I never did trim our brick molding, so I'm going to trim it, hit E and trim that to this end here, and now I'm just going to use the scroll bar to come on down and hit E to trim the brick mold to there, and V for vector and set a point, and then come up to here and hit K and hit my scroll button, and so there I fixed my gutters. Control W, and so here we have the beginnings of two elevations. One of the things that I should have done was to use my old grade lines. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Z for zoom. I'm going to select this grade line here just by right-clicking on it. And I'm going to set a handle for it right at the juncture of the floor line and the wall line. So I'm going over here to set selection handles, clicking on it, going over here to intersect 2. Over at the left-hand side over here, you see the intersect 2. I'm going to click on that. And what that'll do is as I click near to the intersection of 2 lines, click near one line and then the other line, you can see that it's already wanting to show where the point's going to be set. And then I click near this line, just left click, and and then hit enter, and it's set a handle right there. So now I'm going to hit N and duplicate that handle, hit R, and hit tab and hit 90 for my rotation angle, and Control W, and I'm going to hit M and just move it over here to the right side. And it's going to be in the wrong layer because it's currently in layer 51, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the info box and take it up to layer 45 and move the info box back out of the way. So now it's still selected. Now I'm going to just use the slash key for mirror, and it's just going to mirror it over and click at the bottom of that wall line. Now I'm going to zoom up on my front elevation, and I'm going to trim the wall lines to these grade lines. So E, I'm going to first hit H to go out of orthogonal mode. I'm going to hit E and trim this to this one, and E to trim this one to this one. Hit Escape to unselect it, Control W, and that concludes Lesson 10A, which is 2 of our elevations. Lesson 10B is going to be really pretty quick and dirty because, I forgot to do my floor line. So hit Z to zoom back up here. I'm going to just hit I want it to be right on this line right here. Even though the floor at the garage door is going to be lower because it's sloping, I'm just going to use this intersection of our typical finished floor line and wall line. So I'm going to hit V for vector, and I'm going over here to our intersect 2 also and clicking on that, and then clicking near this line and then this line, and hit H for orthogonal mode. And so now it just comes on over. I can just right click to this point right down below here, and now I just hit my scroll button and it's activated. So there's our floor line. We'll be removing this portion where the garage door is later. Control W, and that concludes Lesson 10A, the beginnings of our elevation.